Hey guys, Jay Altman here from Altman Fitness, and today what I'd like to do is to share a little bit about who it is we are and what it is we do, and then I want to open it up for any questions that you guys might have out there. This is my first time doing Facebook Live, so bear with me as I'm trying to learn where to see your comments and things. I want to try to make sure I get to any questions that you guys are asking me, but if they are not, if I don't see them, for one, I apologize. Two, I want to let you know that if there's questions in the comment sections below, I will answer those after the Facebook Live video here, okay? All right, cool. So a little bit about Altman Fitness. If I could tell you anything about us in one sentence, the thing to know about Altman Fitness is that we do two things. We help people get more fit, and we help people for fat loss. That's it. Okay, we don't help for marathon training or triathlon training or a whole bunch of other things. We help people that are busy, that live right here in the Edina, Eden Prairie, Bloomington area to lose weight and to fit it into your life. We know that you're very busy. I'm a parent. My wife and I are the owners here at Altman Fitness. We have 3 kids, 10, 8, and 4. And so just like many of you out there, trying to work full-time jobs and to raise kids and run them all around and everything, we know how busy life gets. And so we created Altman Fitness so that you can fit in the most efficient way possible just how to lose weight and to get fit. And we do that in our workouts. Our workouts are in total 30 to 45 minutes in length. But there's about 30 minutes of working out, so that when we are working out, we write the workouts based on the science that tells us how to lose weight the fastest. So what we expect is many of you out there don't exercise because you absolutely love it, but that you exercise because you know it's the thing that's going to help you have your health. It's going to help you keep up with your kids. It's going to help you have better energy at your work. And it's going to help you, probably maybe as importantly, to look at how you want to look, right? We all have a certain way we want to look and feel. And so we wanted to be able to get workouts that are the most efficient, but that still produce an amazing result so that you can be in, you can get out, and you can go and be about your day. So we provide nutrition plans for fat loss, and we provide exercise for fat loss, okay? So that said, if you're watching right now, if you're not watching, what I want you to do, if you're watching right now, I want you to like and share this video, because the more people you like and share, the more people it can help. And I am here, our team here, we are all here to serve you. And we can't serve you without you. So we, for one, just really appreciate you being here. And again, if you can like and share this video, it'll help us to help you and help others that have questions just like you. So right now I'm not seeing any questions. I'm here with my manager who's sitting just like right here to my side. You can't see. There he is. That's William. Say hi to William. And William has written up a few questions. So I'm going to take the first question, and I want you to know I don't know what these questions are. He brought them in and asked if I would read them this morning, and I said, you know what? I don't want to read them, actually. I want to just respond to them. And so I might not know the answer, but I'm going to give it my best. Hi, Lori. Good to see you. How are you today? Lori, if you have any questions, just type them below in the comment section, and then I will answer them as we go. Right now, William's going to ask me a question. Let me slide in here, William, so that everybody can see you too. Yeah. And then,
how's it going?
We'll go from
All
there.
right, so I kind of pulled the internet for different questions that are really common, and I know Jay is really good at reframing questions to get an even deeper answer. And one of the ones I liked right away was having trouble on weekends and traveling to stick to a healthy diet. So someone that would come up with just that's kind of where they're at. They're stuck on, they're just having trouble with it. They don't really know exactly where to go for an answer to that.
Great question. So the question is, you're trying to live a healthy lifestyle, you get to your weekend, and then how do you get through a weekend and still be healthy?
Right.
Yes?
Right.
A great question. It's a question that all of us come up against, including me. And so the couple of ways I like to think about this question. One is, when you get to a weekend, or even, let me back up from there. Because what the most important thing when it comes to exercise and or eating for a healthy lifestyle, the most important thing that any of us can do is to just be consistent, okay? It's not about trying to be a hero in any one day for sure, and not even in a week, and not in a month, because the real results come over time, right? So if you can, first of all, you want to come from the mindset, the frame of, I'm in this for a lifestyle, right? You're in this to try to change your life. You're in this to try to feel better. You're in this to try to have your best health. You're in this to try to have energy for your kids, your family, for yourself. And so one thing is just to know, coming into any situation, whether you're on a girls' weekend, a guy's weekend, an ordinary weekend at home, whatever it might be, and you're trying to figure out how to what to do. First of all, just know that whatever you ultimately do on the weekend, it's just a little sliver of time. It's virtually meaningless in so many ways when it comes to your long-term results. That you just want to kind of keep that perspective, and then make sure that you are engaged back into healthy living on a regular basis. For example, no matter what happens in any week, if you pick Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, say at 5:45 in the morning, or 9:30 in the morning, or 5:45 at night, whatever time of day works best for you to exercise, just stick to it, no matter what, no matter how you're feeling. You might not be feeling even very well, but still make a commitment to just come in, show up, go through the motions. Even if it's not your best day, it's not that big a deal. What you're proving to yourself is that you are committed to the lifestyle that's going to give you the long-term outcome that you're after, and that's way more important. That's let me back up and like how to approach a day. I'm gonna make the assumption that many of you drink like I do, okay? And so let me just now go back to like what you can do on the weekend, some ways you can think about what it is you're doing so that you can make the best choices in those weekend moments for you, at least choices that you can be in control of. So when you get to a time that you know you're gonna drink, say it's Friday night, and you have you're out with your girlfriends, you're gonna go out to dinner, and you know you're gonna have wine with dinner. One, I want you to know that wine is a carbohydrate, and it's more refined than any other carbohydrate. It's more refined than sugar, right? So sugar is about 4 grams per calorie, and I said that wrong. It's about 4 calories per gram, and alcohol is about 7 calories per gram. So it's almost twice the amount of, you can think of it as sugar, about twice the effect of sugar when you put alcohol into your body. So just knowing that it's a carbohydrate, when you're eating your entire meal, what you want to do is just know that the wine or whatever other alcohol you might choose is a carbohydrate. And let's say you're going to have a steak dinner. So you're going to have steak, and there's a baked potato, and there is, let's say, asparagus, okay? Now, of the steak, the baked potato, and asparagus, of those, we know which one is the starchy carb. Of course, it's the potato. So if you're having wine, just know wine is essentially the same thing as the potato, okay? So you have to make a choice, how much wine you're going to have compared to how much potato you're going to have. Or you're just going to have the wine, you're going to omit the potato, so that way you have your steak, your asparagus, and you're going to skip out on the potato because we like the wine better, right? So that can be a one way to manage having alcohol without it having a dramatic effect onto your body, which can affect your fat loss, right? So just know that alcohol is a carb, and that in a meal, this is what happens a lot of times, is you're gonna have wine or another cocktail before dinner, then you have dinner, you have wine or another cocktail with dinner, and then it's after dinner, and then oftentimes there's either a dessert and or more wine, right? So think about how many carbohydrates are stacked up if you choose alcohol before the meal, and then you have alcohol during the meal, then you have a starchy carbohydrate with the meal, and then you also have a dessert after, and or possibly more wine after that. You can see how many carbohydrates add up. It adds up very, very fast. And I think it's pretty clear. We get bombarded every day. We all know that sugar is not good for us, right? And now we know that alcohol is even one more notch, call it less good or worse for us than alcohol is. Okay? So that's one trick. Just know alcohol is a carbohydrate, and don't have 4 or 5 carbohydrates with a meal. You need 1 carbohydrate with a meal, and then that's it. Okay? The other approach that I like to use sometimes, if I know I'm going into a meal or a night where I'm going to be having drink or drinks, because oftentimes it's 2 or 3 drinks, right? Or more, it could be. But the thing that I want to point out is if you do exercise on the same day that you're doing that, your body's going to metabolize through the carbohydrates faster than if you did not do exercise. So if you're going into a night you know you're going to be drinking, make sure you do exercise. And if you want the best kind of exercise for fat loss, what you want to do is you want to do something like the exercise we do here at Altman Fitness, which is circuit training done using weights or other resistance equipment, done so that you really can spike your heart rate up and then your heart rate comes down. And you want it ideally somewhere between 8 to 12 spikes in your heart rate in one training session. And when you exercise that way using resistance training, you're going to spike your metabolism. You're going to keep your what's called the afterburn effect, which just simply refers to how many calories you're burning following a workout. You're going to keep that elevated really high. For the research shows between 36 to 48 hours is what the research suggests for how many calories, or for how your body's going to burn calories for that next time period. Compared to if you didn't exercise today, your metabolism kind of stays like this. And if you don't exercise, in fact, it starts going down, right? You start burning less and less calories the more sedentary you are. But when you exercise, you immediately bring it up. If you exercise with weights, it comes up even higher. If you exercise with weights in an explosive type format, done in a circuit way, you spike it up and then it comes down, spike it up, and then you end up like way up here. And so at the end of a workout done in that format, you've burned a lot of calories per time that you were working out. But more importantly, way more important actually, is how many calories you burn. Say you stop the workout here. If you do a cardiovascular only workout, pretty quickly your body comes back to a resting metabolism. When you do strength training and you do this, what we just talked about, you burn a lot of calories, but your metabolism stays really high because you're trying to, all the muscles are trying to recover, and it takes at least a day, but oftentimes a couple days for your body to really recover from that training session, which means your body is burning at a higher calorie rate than it was previous to. And that's a really big deal because it means you even exercising every other day, right, then your metabolism just stay really elevated for that time. And that's the golden ticket. All right, so if we go back and recap a little bit, going into a weekend, how can you stay healthy? One is when you're choosing a meal, make sure you're not choosing up to 5 carbohydrates. We're trying to choose 1 protein, 1 fat, 1 starchy carbohydrate, right? That's it. So, so again, not a drink plus potato plus alcohol plus dessert plus more alcohol. That's a bad formula, and it's going to make you, for one, feel terrible. It's going to make your body pack on fat weight because it's spiking your insulin. That's going to cause you to store fat, and then no matter what you're doing in the workouts, you're going to be working against yourself. So it's not going to really work for you. 2, on the same day that you know you're going to have drinks, if you do a circuit format training where you're using explosive resistance training to really elevate your metabolism, that will help you burn through carbohydrates a lot faster. So even if you do screw up a bit with the diet part, the exercise, because of how you did the exercise that day, is really going to help you a lot. Okay? All right, cool. Does that answer the question?
Yeah.
About anything else that you're thinking about around that question?
I like the bird's eye approach you use towards when you look at a weekend, it's only 2 days of the whole week. And when you reframe it, that it's not that big of a deal if you take care of yourself during the week. I like that kind of way you said that, just because I feel that the members I've seen, even myself included, is if you have a bad weekend, it's easy to let that weekend roll into the next week. But if you can just stay strong and stick with your at least your week, a healthy, holistic diet, you're going to be much better off long term, and that's what we really want is the long term.
That's the lifestyle component, right? Like,
right.
Well, you mean, just like with a lot of things in life, if you think about the 80-20 rule, right? If 80% of the time you're doing the right thing or good things, 20% of the time you can get away with just about anything. And that's, in full disclosure, it's how I live my own life. 80% of the time, I eat really well and take care of my body and do things as well as I know how. And 20% of the time, I let myself kind of have whatever. If I'm out with friends and they're having pizza, then I'll join and have pizza. So I don't make it, it's not a big deal. And I don't let it be a big deal. I just let it be, it kind of is what it is, if that's what I want. The other thing I would say around that is if for one, if pizza is not your thing, for example, that's not really my thing. I just came to my mind, but I know it's your thing, right? So
definitely.
If it comes up, and that's what you love it, like I say, it's like a 10 for you, of like all the foods that you love to eat, and pizza is your 10. I think you should include it. It's like otherwise you're living in kind of in the state of mind that you're in deprivation, right? Instead of like coming from this abundance mindset where you can allow yourself to have the things that you really love in life, right? Like. Because if you deprive, you can do that. You can use willpower and deprive yourself against those things for a certain amount of time. We all can do that for different lengths of time, depending on how strong-willed we are. But what ultimately happens, right, is we give into that, we succumb to that, and then we forget it. Like I'm done with this, and then what happens for most of us is that we go off the deep end, which means we eat like a whole pizza, or if you deprive yourself of alcohol, right, then you drink a ton instead of just having moderate amounts. Things that but if you're always tuning into what really equals a 10 for you, like if having 2 drinks feels really good and you feel good with it, then like why wouldn't you? Just kind of makes sense to me why you would keep doing that. But if you have 10 drinks and you feel like shit, then if you're really listening to that, you then ultimately come to the understanding you know what? I really don't want that for myself. I love having 2 or 3 drinks. But when I have 10 drinks, I feel terrible. I feel terrible not only for the next day, but it's I feel terrible for maybe 3 or 4 days. And so anyway, it's just tune into what you really love, what you really want. Use the 80-20 rule with how to stay healthy and how to fit it in and keep the perspective that you're in this for the lifestyle of it overall. I guess there's one caveat to that one too. What's popping in my mind right now is that if you have a specific goal by a specific time, for example, you have a wedding coming up and it's in 6 weeks from now, and no matter what, you need to fit into this dress, or you want to look a certain way in front of your family and friends, then you make decisions around that, right? So in that case, you would want to be more committed to clean eating throughout the week. And whenever you get to those times where you feel like it's the weekend, and you're like, man, I'm out Friday night and I really want some drinks, or I really want pizza, or whatever your thing is, what you have to come to at that point is just remember why you're doing what you're doing for this sliver of time, right? So I know for this next 6 weeks, what I really want is to feel totally amazing when I put that dress on, and how I'm going to look, and how my arms are going to look, how I'm going to feel when I'm at that wedding, right?
You look great in a dress, Jay.
Yeah, right.
So from 80-20 to kind of a 95-5, it sounds like when you have and you're using a why more so. So that dress would be a great, just a goal. It's a why. So I definitely see that. So you got to find what it is for you, what you're doing it for.
Yes.
When you're on a more of a tighter squeeze. But for the lifestyle, it sounds like it's okay to. You want
to give yourself a little more freedoms as a general, so that psychologically you can roll and live your life, and be part of a healthy, have a lifestyle that's healthy, and then also be part of your community, part of your family, and kind of feel like you are normal, which is normal, right? When you're part of a community that is healthy, and I think most of us want to live a healthy lifestyle, then it just stands to reason that you want to kind of get the bigger frame for most of us most of the time is that we want to live healthy most of the time, and we want to be able to have our pizza and our drinks or whatever the thing is sometimes too. And then it just changes when you have in a more of a near-term goal that's more pressing, then you change for that.
That cleared the.
Hi, Jonathan.
Yeah.
Hey, buddy, if you have any questions, anything related to fitness or fat loss that we can answer for you right now, we're going to stay on here for about 7 or 8 more minutes, and then we're going to call today. But if you have any questions, just ask us a question, and we'd love to hear from you. Thanks for joining us, bud. And hey, if while you're on here, if you like and share this, this will help spread the message for what we're talking about here today, and I appreciate it. So should we move on to one more? I think we have time for one more question.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of a good one for the time we have left.
And Kelly had that question too. We could use that one, or we could save that for another time.
Yeah, I'll let you kind of pick the one or two that you see as the most value. So this can be kind of common with members that have been with for a while. I see.
Hi, Brenda.
Members,
welcome.
Perfect. Yeah. So there's a couple of members that have been with us for a while. They do hit a plateau eventually. It just kind of is gonna happen. So what are like some of the tools that you can arm them with, maybe like understanding why they're plateauing is part of the process. I guess just more of the underground why underneath that, so that they can feel good as they're plateauing or as their body is adapting to what they're doing before their next kind of big breakthrough.
So let me, I just want to like ask a little bit more about this question, right? So like you say plateauing, so this is someone who's been here for like several months or like a few weeks?
Let's say
or like
several months. And they've lost their like 10 pounds. Maybe their goal was 20. They lost their 10, 12 pounds.
Yeah.
And it's that last kind of bit that they're doing. I know there's multiple reasons for it. I can already think of some, but I like to kind of have your mind go off on that a little bit to why you would. And then if they have to be changing a little bit of their style of workout potentially, or what is really happening during that transition.
Okay, I think I got your question. I'll
do
my best with it. We'll talk through it. And
If
I'm not quite getting to like what the essence of it, like just keep asking me.
Right.
So like what I'm kind of what I'm hearing is when someone's here for a while, or when people start off on an exercise or a new lifestyle change, fitness and fat loss journey. Initially, what we see often is people make a lot of progress, right? They're maybe start here and they're at a certain weight. We'll call it 200 pounds, and they want to get to 150, right? So they're going down. They maybe get to 160, and then all of a sudden they plateau off, and they like, why can't I like make this next shift? I feel like I'm stuck, right? Like I don't know what to do. Is that?
Yeah, kind of like when they're comparing it to what they recently just had. Like they just lost 40 pounds, and it's like yes, I lost 40 pounds, but now it's like
super exciting, right? When you're like losing fast, it's more fun and like So a couple things that happen when you are, let me just talk to you about like how when most people, hi Amy, when most people come on, start with us here at Altman Fitness, that they come in and most people are not exercising. Or if they are exercising, they're not exercising for fat loss, right? So when we get them exercising here with us, we're following the science for how to get a result for fat loss. So they're coming in, they're spiking their heart rate using resistance training, doing explosive training with resistance training in a circuit format. And the research we know shows that's a 9 times better result compared to other types of training. So initially they're gonna see a lot of result because they're most of the time untrained or not training the right ways for fat loss. So that's part of it. They're going to come in, they're going to initially get big results that way. Now then too, when, you're right, Amy, consistency is the key. And that's a great point. When, so exercise is the one component, right? Then the second component to losing weight is diet. And diet is about 80% of how you get a great fat loss result, okay? And so when you come in, what generally happens when people start exercising, they also automatically start eating a little bit better. It's just funny how that works, but it's true. They kind of don't want to come in and work out and then screw it up by going and eating some crappy foods, and that's just kind of how we're wired, so we don't want to screw that up. And then the other thing that happens is we oftentimes get people to do one of our eating programs here for fat loss, right? Either the 28-day fat loss formula plan, the Fit in 30 plan, or maybe they've tried out our 6-week body transformation challenge, or one of our other challenges that we put out through the year. So they get a specific eating plan, they're eating this way. Most of the eating plans, let me pick 28-day fat loss formula for example. It's meant to get you a definite fat loss result in the shortest amount of time possible. It's not a plan that's meant to follow forever. So what generally happens when people come in, they'll get maybe they start on one of these plans, they'll get a big fat loss result, and then they might start to plateau, which is your question. And what do you do about when you get to this plateau? What do you do? So I think it was Einstein that once said, the definition of insanity, was it Einstein? Yeah, it said like, if you keep doing the same thing over and over and expect different results, that's what would drive you insane. And so at some point when you are here, what people fall into on the exercise side of the equation for fat loss is you come in and say you're used to picking up the 15-pound dumbbells for certain exercises. That's just kind of what you do, and you kind of fall into this habit. But what needs to happen over time is you have to evolve how you're exercising, and that could be the way that you're focusing in a workout. I mean, if you're doing bicep curls, for example, if you stare at something in front of you and you're intent on it, and you're focusing, you're thinking about working your bicep muscles, and you're squeezing those bicep muscles every time, that's one way to get 2 to 3 or 4 more reps out of the same weight, just because you're completely focused. And so that would be one way to break past a plateau, is in your workouts, focus. Think about why it is you came into the studio on that day, or why you're training that day. And if you say to yourself, I'm training this day because I'm trying to break through this plateau, or I'm going to break through this plateau, and you ask yourself, how can I break through the plateau through one component, which is the exercise, and you stay focused to that while you're exercising. So you're going to give it a little bit more intensity. It's a little bit more weight. Maybe you're going to move a little bit faster. You're going to try to get 2 or 3 more reps. You're going to focus your mind on the muscles that you're working on each thing. And if you're not sure, ask your trainer, or ask us here on our Facebook Live sessions. So that's one thing. Focus, be intent, understand why you're there, and tune into it. That's one way to break through the plateau. And make sure you keep asking yourself a good question, which is, how can I break through my plateau with exercise? And as opposed to that, a bad question would be, why can't I move past my plateau? Because our brains are wired to answer our questions, right? So our questions are our thoughts. So if you keep asking the question, why can't I break past my plateau? Our brain's going to start answering that, and it'll even answer it subconsciously, where you're not even really understanding why you're not breaking through. You just will kind of know that you're not. So you want to make sure you're asking yourself, how can I break through using exercise? And if you're unsure about what to do, ask your trainer, or apply the things that I just talked about right here, which focus. Hi, Aaron. Nice to see you, buddy. So do that. And then we got to talk about the diet part, right? Because we talked about diet is 80% of like why someone won't get past a plateau after you exercise and eat a certain way. But it gets back to the same things. Like when you were losing the most amount of weight, you got to ask yourself, how focused were you on the eating component, right? Like, were you really dialed in? Were you eating clean more? What happens for most of us is like when we first start eating a new way, we're excited about it. We're paying more attention. We're more into it, right? And then you kind of go along, and then what happens is some old habits, like magic, kind of creep back in to what's going on. And then you kind of get away. And if you're being honest with yourself, and one way to get really honest with yourself is to log for at least 3 days. Completely log everything that you're eating and put it into like My Net Diary. And you'll really see, like, what are you really doing? Because a lot of times we kind of think we're drinking enough water, we think we're eating healthy. And what I find oftentimes when I have people log actually what they're doing, is what I find is they're not actually drinking as much water as they should. And you should be drinking about half your body weight in ounces of water every single day. So if you're a 200-pound person, about 100 ounces of water would be the mark, right? And then when it comes to the food, what I often find for people that think they're eating healthy, it's one of two things. Either they're including foods that are healthy, but then they're also including foods, and too often, the ones that are not healthy. And so while so it feels like, we always like to think we're doing good for ourselves, right? So we tend to underestimate like how many bad foods are actually creeping in, and we tend to overestimate how many good foods we're actually putting in our bodies. But the way to get honest with that and to really see and get a look is to just log it for 3 days. And you'll get a real sense into like what it is you are actually doing, right? So, and then the other thing that I see is if people are including healthy foods, because this happened a little while back. Remember Sarah that came in? Sarah, she was actually including like healthy foods. She's like, I'm eating like, you know, like, I mean, it was like all the healthy foods, right? Like coconut oil and lots of vegetables and the right proteins and high level, you know, good choice carbohydrates and fruits and so on. So like the foods themselves actually were good. What was wrong in her situation for not breaking through a plateau is how she was combining those foods. It was too much combining foods that are sugar or turn to sugar quickly with foods that are fat. So that's one no-no when it comes to trying to lose weight, or if you're at a plateau. Because if you're not at a plateau, that can work sometimes. But if you're at a plateau, you want to ask yourself, so we talked about the exercise, and now we also want to talk about, hey Steve, nice to see you, bud. And so when we talk about I lost my train of thought a little bit, but when you're doing the food, the 80% rule, if you're doing the 80% of the time you're eating well, or if you get to, I guess, I know what I was talking about. When you get to your plateau, when you get to a plateau, you want to dial in and look at either the foods that you are eating and making sure that you're, one, including healthy foods at least 80% of the time. And then if you're still at a plateau, you want to look at how you're combining those foods. Make sure you're not combining foods that either are sugar or that turn to sugar quickly with something that is fat, right? And an easy example for everybody to understand would be ice cream. Ice cream both has sugar, high amounts of sugar, and high amounts of fat. Delicious, right? Yes. But if you're at a plateau and your question is, how can I get past my plateau and get past this? You got to look at knocking out food like ice cream, because that's one of the ways that the science tells us that you're going to gain the weight the fastest, because you have a high sugar, high fat. High sugar spikes insulin. Insulin, again, is that fat storage hormone. It's going to store all that fat away. And then, unfortunately, once you have fat stored on your body, it's not easy for our bodies to access it. And so then you have to kind of clean that up, at least till you bust through your plateau. Okay? Does that answer the question? Is there what else can I clarify around
No, that's definitely a great answer, because there's you just gave multiple different ways to handle a plateau. And I was trying to think, if I was plateauing right now, I have multiple angles that I can now reattack. And even, I mean, I thought there's a ton of value with the question, the way you worded the question of what are you asking yourself, is why am I plateauing? Or if you have that kind of feeling, maybe your question's different, depends on who you are and what's going on there. But either way, you're stopping. You're asking a question that's making you rationalize that I'm stopping because my body just maybe isn't meant to go better than this. Or you find an answer, and it's a lot of times an answer that's not true. Right. When you ask a question like that, so reframing the question to just do something different, to what can I do next while I'm working out? What can my focus be when I'm eating? What can my focus be to be incrementally better? I thought there's a ton of value in that alone. If I was plateauing, you just gave me I see that I'm not on a plateau. I'm on a hill. I can go down it now. I can go where I want to go.
Yeah. So if you're out there and you're watching, if you are on a plateau, just remember those couple things. For one, start with asking yourself the great questions, right? Ask, how can I bust through this plateau, right? Like, what can I do in my exercise to break through the plateau? And that's like, focusing and raising the intensity of what you're doing. And then you ask yourself, what can I do with my eating to bust through this plateau? You want to ask those questions. What can you do right now?
Right.
And then beyond that, just generally asking the question, what can I do right in this moment? Maybe it's even fidgeting. Maybe you're sitting at your desk right now and watching this video, and you can just fidget. You can move your feet. You can burn a few extra calories just by fidgeting, or getting up every hour on the hour and taking a 5-minute walk. There's a lot of little things you can fit in through a day that if you keep asking yourself, what can I do right now to help break through my plateau, because I can't stand it anymore. I'm sick of this plateau. I feel like I'm spending this effort, but I'm ready to break through. how can you break through? You break through by asking yourself the right question.
Right.
And if you don't have the answers, you ask them right here on this Facebook Live session. And then we'll get them answered for specifically what to do if you have any specific question out there. Yeah?
Very
cool.
good. Very good.
I think we're out of time for this day.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for tuning in. If you guys would do me a huge favor, thanks for the like. I appreciate it. Like and share down below so that you can help us spread the word to how to improve your fitness and fat loss lifestyle for yourself. And this is something we're going to start doing every single week. And so if you have more questions right now, ask your questions below, and I'll either answer them in the comment section below, or I will answer them next week on our Facebook Live section next week. All right? Thanks, guys. Have a great day. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.